sunshine. While you play, spotlight from my heart. Sunshine. While you playing, spotlight from my heart. Sunshine. While you playing, I can change.
Seems so good.
Spotlight from my heart. Sunshine, my dad, while you playing, I just hope it makes no sense. Spotlight from my heart. Sunshine, my dad, while you playing, I just hope it makes no sense. Spotlight from my heart. Sunshine. My dad, while you playing, I can chill.
Seems so good.
Spotlight from my heart.
Hello everybody and welcome to this live stream. I did receive my Mavic Mini late yesterday evening, so I didn't have a chance today to unbox it until I got home from work. So I thought I would record the whole thing, which you just saw in the countdown, and do a small live stream just to give you sort of my thoughts about this new drone. And we're trying a different setup here. Now I'm actually streaming from my Sony A7 III here, and I have the webcam up here so I can talk to you. And so this would maybe make it easier for me to show you some of the stuff that I've seen while trying it out. And also we're going to look at some night footage, and you might ask, why is it only night footage? And that's because it's dark all the time. It's basically only daylight when you're at work right now here in Denmark. So that's why I was out flying a little bit a short trip on my own around my own house here, just to see how it performs outside in the dark. So we'll look at that a little bit later. So here it is. I actually left one of the prop guards on just to show you how sturdy those are. It's actually quite impressive, and I guess this is a must to have these prop guards, especially if you're flying indoor, because the Mavic Mini doesn't have any sensors. What you see here in the front, these two holes here, they're actually not sensors. They're just, I think, venting inlets for cooling the drone. So these are pretty handy and they are pretty sturdy. They are not flimsy like the previous models. So let's just remove them, just for. And those are pretty easy to take off like that. So just remove it like that. But they are a little bit big, so they're not that easy to carry along. So one of the first things that I did notice when I took it out was this one, the gimbal cover. That is a bit flimsy and not that easy to mount. It seems like this is a common denominator for all the gimbal protection that DJI is making, that it's not that easy to operate. And it also feels like a little bit flimsy. Sometimes it feels like you would break it. So let's see how that will withstand the abuse over the next coming days. You see, it's not a very elegant solution. It's you have to click it in. It feels pretty cheap, I would say. The drone itself, that is a pretty nice little thing. So if we just fold it like that, you can see when you get it in your hands, it's actually a lot smaller than what you have imagined from the pictures. So in that way, I'm pleasantly surprised with the size of it. So it's just unfolded again. And the props, they are pretty tiny. They're pretty tiny compared to what we're used to. So the chassis of the drone, you can see the legs, they are flexing a lot. So I guess they have used a special kind of plastic that is maybe not that dense as the other Mavic models, because it's pretty crazy that you can twist the leg like that. But in all, of course, it feels light, and because it's under 250 grams, which is the limit for registration of the drone in most countries, then it does feel a little bit plasticky. And those of you that saw the countdown saw that I was battling a little bit with the battery to get that out. And that was basically one that made a funny comment. I think it was Rob that said that they used the same technique as they did with the SD card slot on the Mavic Air. That's pretty hard to access with the battery. And I used a screwdriver on the countdown to take out the battery, but you don't need to do that. That was just me I just felt I had to press so hard that I was breaking my nails, so that's why I used the screwdriver, but you don't need the screwdriver to take out the battery. You see, it's not that complicated. It was just me fumbling around. So, and also we talked about these. These are still, these are bending. Basically all the holes that you see in the chassis of the drone, those are inlets. Also have 3 inlets down here. It has the only sensors that is on the drone is these. This is a flow sensor, I think, that will make it stay pretty steady, in a pretty steady position. The remote, that feels like expected. These sticks here, they are feels like a cheaper quality than what we know from the other types, from the Mavic Air or the Mavic 2 Pro. That is metal, but it's a pretty known concept. It's the same concept they have used with all of their Mavics, so it's you will find it pretty easy to operate the drone if you have flown one of these before. There's no display here, so of course you will lose some of the basic information that you will have normally available. And also back here we have sort of the packaging for the drone. Let's just take those away. And this concept here, I really like that. This is one of the things that I like, that I have this charging dock for the 3 batteries. And I know now that like the previous multi-chargers from DJI, it only charges 1 battery at a time. So of course that will take a while for you to charge all of them. But the cool part here is that they made it like a power bank. And that means that you can go from basically this one into the remote. And then you can, of course, this can go into the wall socket. So, but if you bring this along, the whole battery charging case, including the batteries, that will act as a power bank. So that's pretty smart. And of course, what's not to like, that everything fits in a casing like this. This is super compact. And as I mentioned in the chat, I'll be going to the US next week, and I'll be bringing this one because I for sure want to shoot some good footage over there. And because I don't need to register the drone, then it's basically a no-brainer for me to bring that. So let's see. Let's just look in the chat here before we look at some night footage from the drone. Let's see. Okay, so the side camera is too high, so you couldn't see what I was doing. It's okay. So that's of course a problem. So which part do you want to make me repeat? Just let me know in the chat. Let's just look at the chat here to see is props are light, maybe a minute. Cargo 29, how much flight time will those guards take away from the full battery? Yeah, that's I don't think I will fly with them outdoor. I did that just before, but I guess I have to test to figure out how much they will steal. They will probably, of course, they add to the weight of the drone, so it will take away some flight time. So let's see. So J. Robert Sager ordered his from DJI and won't ship until December the 5th. I think they've sold a lot of these actually, and the reason why I think they sold a lot is because it's basically the price point is right for this kind of drone, and it seems from what I can see from the Fly app, it's a very simplified experience. So I think it will appeal to a lot of people that will just start to get into the hobby, because if you're gonna spend like $1,800 to $2,000 on your first drone, that's a lot of money, and if you're not going to use it professionally, then not many people will spend that kind of money on their hobby. So this is a perfect drone to start your adventure into the hobby. I also often get the question if this is a better choice than the Mavic Air, and of course it's not a better choice than the Mavic Air, because the Mavic Air is hooked up to the DJI Go 4 app, and you get access to a bunch of features that is taken away in the Fly app. And I guess one of the reasons for that is because of you have all the sensors available on the Mavic Air that will sort of assist the drone in all the stuff that it needs to do with the more advanced flight modes. So so of course it's not better than the Mavic Air, but it's definitely, I think, a lot better than the Spark, even though many will disagree about that, because the Spark had the obstacle avoidance in the front and stuff like that. But the longer flight time and the better camera, I think that is a big upside for this drone. So see, I can only see a small picture here, but Marcus, the idea was that I wanted to show you stuff with the, but if I kept it too high, of course you can't see it. But the idea was that you should not see my arm, but you should actually see the stuff that I was showing you down here. So I'm sorry if that was not a success, but I can show you stuff again. It's a live stream, so stuff is allowed to happen. So no, Marcus, I don't drink and fly, so not too much gammeldansk. Okay, so let's see. Cargo 29 saying is right now, is my experience started with the Spark as the first came out and then upgraded to the Mavic Pro. That makes perfectly sense. So, and Sean, hey Sean, nice to see you here. Yeah, Sean, you started with a lot of, you flew the what was it called, Blade Chroma, a long time before you entered the Mavic era. Yeah, and exactly, the Spark was it was doing what it was designed to do. It was designed to sort of take people into the DJI universe and make them addicted, so they will buy all of the other drones that they are releasing. It has been a pretty disappointing year from DJI, but I think this Mini is a start for a new era. We might see some upgrades coming soon. At least there's a rumor that says something about a Mavic 3 that will start to arrive in sometimes in the beginning of the new year. Yes, I can show the twisting arms again. Let me just make sure that the camera is in the right position. So, see this? So the arms, they are twisting. They can be twisted a lot. So this, I guess this plastic is a different kind of plastic. I don't know if it is a different kind of plastic, but it's not as dense as the normal one that they're using. And also there was a few comments on the color of the drone, that it's gray, then it will disappear in the sky. And to my experience is that the colors are basically not that important for a drone, because it will always be black against the sky. So it will be it wouldn't matter if it was blue or red or yellow or any color that you would think of, because you will still see it as a black dot in the sky. At least that's my experience. So, yes, so the twisty arms, there's also the mounting of the props. That is a bit funny, that you have the screws here. So it's the props are divided. It's not like a common construction like you had on the other DJI drones. Let's just go back to the battery that I was struggling with before. So I put in my fingernail like that. put in the fingernail like that, and then I pull out the back. Oh, and then I crash my keyboard. So, see. So if I put it in again, like that. And the SD card is located down here. So it's a bit the same as the Mavic Air, but it's at least accessible to a easier degree than it was on the Mavic Air. So, what else do we have here that we can? Yeah, I can take this one again. And there's of course extra props and screwdriver, extra these sticks that goes on the remote. There's extra cables if you run with the Android phones, older Android phones with the micro USB and also the USB-C. Those are there as well. So I find this as a nice little kit. So maybe we should try and pack it up while we are here on the stream. So the way I've decided to do it is I've taken a mini Ziploc bag for all the stuff, and I might add some extra things like SD cards and stuff, and then I will simply just put that in the bottom here, bottom compartment here. Then I will take the charging case. But what I will do first is I will position the charger in this room below the remote. And then I will take these cables, fold them up, and put them nicely here. Like that. And then there was a question if we could put in the remote without taking off the sticks. So let's try and see if we can do that. I don't think it's possible. I can already see now it's not possible. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. No, the shape of the case doesn't allow for that. So we need to unscrew these and put them in where they belong. In here. Like this. And then position the remote. Like that. And then the battery charging case goes in very nicely like this. And then we try to fiddle the cover here in place without breaking anything. Listen to that sound. It doesn't sound really nice when you click it on. It sounds cheapish. Cheapish. I don't know if that's even a word. So let's just fold it here. Like that. So, and then the drone goes in like this. And we close it. So that is a nice little kit. You gotta love that. It still occupies a bit of space, but it still it slides nicely into your backpack, I would assume. So let's see. Yeah. So during tomorrow or the day after, I will see if I can shoot some daylight footage. But I want to show you this night footage that I just shot. So let's just switch to that part. So this is a night footage through my garage. Little Sam Coder style. But you can see once you get away from the lights, there's not much left to do. So back to where we started. So this is a, yeah, we can maybe go down here and take it. Yeah. So yeah. So maybe then you don't need to see my arms all the time. So you could see from the night footage, you could see that the camera capabilities or the dynamic range of the camera is not that impressive, or the low light performance is not that impressive, and I didn't expect that either. And because you don't have any control about over the shutter and the ISO, there's not much you can do about this. You can you get access to the exposure compensation value, so you can bump that up a little bit. I bumped that up to 2 stops for this video that I recorded there, but don't expect to work miracles when it's dark. That's for sure. I didn't expect that. So it was just fun to try it, and because I had the chance to do it right now. So I would have to get some good daylight footage, and we can maybe do another live stream where we look at this footage together through Final Cut, so we can see how many details are clipped in the highlights and in the shadows. So let's just jump in here, and thank you for the super chat wishing reviews. It's always appreciated when some of you are spending a little money my way to pay for these toys. It has not been possible yet to get a good agreement with DJI, so I basically buy all of this stuff out of my own money. So yes, so let's just go up here and see. Oscargo 29, DJI knows what they're doing. Yes, they definitely know what they're doing, and it's a pretty smart move to do something that is that entry level ish. A lot of people appreciate that the drone is under 249 grams, but as far as I recall, this will come to an abrupt ending in Europe from mid 2020. Then I think you are supposed to register all of the drones regardless of the weight. So it's nice that it's under 249 grams, but it will not help us in Europe for long. So let's see what else we have here in the chat. Blade Nano, and Sean was flying the Blade Nano, the Blade 350 QX3, and the Blade Chroma. Yeah, I guess you had a lot of fun. I saw some of your early videos shown with this Blade Chroma, and it's in a different league that than the Mavics, that's for sure. A lot of stuff happened. Yeah, and it's a big surprise that the arms can twist like that, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because the drone is pretty stable in the air as far as I can see. So. And of course, yes, Rob, it will probably help if it crashes into something. The low weight, which lowers the inertia or the impact power of the drone, combined with the flex, that would definitely help it from not breaking. Yes, and of course it was, I guess it's because they try to keep the weight down. Let's go down here. Marcus asked if the new app are the same as the other ones. Nope, that's a big difference for this drone, and it's good and it's bad. Maybe I can actually show it to you. The new app for this drone is called the Fly app, the DJI Fly app. And the drone is not connected right now, but I think I can maybe do something like this, so you can see it like this. So it looks like the DJI Go app, Go 4 app, but it's a lot more simplified compared to what you're used to. And that's of course a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. If your expectations are that you have access to the more advanced stuff like histograms and shutter speed and ISO settings and stuff like that, you won't have that here. Everything is taken care of by this app. And you can't use the Go 4 app for the Mini, at least not for now. So there are different apps for this. So let's see. How long was your time before you could fly it out of the box? Yeah, I had to update the firmware. I could have flown without. It was not a required update. So I guess it took around, I don't know, 30 minutes or so before. The biggest problem was actually that the battery came discharged. So there was no power on any of the batteries. The remote had, like, I don't know, half charge, but none of the 3 batteries were charged, so I had to wait for those to charge. So, but that was pretty convenient while I was updating the firmware, and I had to cook a meal for my family. So it was a pretty nice timed that it was ready once I had completed that. But I would have said, if I squeezed everything down, I would have said around half an hour from when I unboxed everything until I could fly it. Yeah, see you around, Sean. The Note 4, that is an Android device. I don't know if it's released for Android. I'm using iOS, so it's available. It was not available in Europe when everybody else announced it was available in the store, so it took maybe a day extra to get it there. I don't know what the status is for Android. Yeah. And drone rise photography, I absolutely agree. I have owned the Mavic Air previously as well, and that is built like a tank, and the build quality of the Air is pretty good, but it's also maybe twice the weight of the Mini. So and the Mini does feel cheap when you hold it. It's not like holding the Mavic Air, that's for sure. Yeah, so I think I will round off this live stream, and sorry about not being able to see what was going on in the beginning, but this was sort of an attempt to try and run this with 2 cameras. So I had the small camera so I could talk to you guys, and then this camera, you can't see that, but the big camera that would show what I was actually doing with my hands. And so in that way you could follow along what I was trying to show you. So yeah, okay, thank you for joining me tonight, and I will be posting some more stuff here once I get to know this drone a little bit better. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.